Travis Wingetzel. So, YouTube cyber terrorized me yet again today. And this all goes back to Ajit Pai when he did away with net neutrality. We were warned by the others who voted against doing away with net neutrality, who were the deep state Dems, of the consequences of him destroying it for us as users of the internet. That his being bribed by the companies to do this would result in companies throttling our service so that there's more buffering if we're not among the rich who will pay the higher premiums, and the alteration of algorithms to favor the high pay and donors or stockholders. Thus why the church was involved in this overthrow of net neutrality when Nelson came out and said, hey, I'm responsible for getting the search engines to tailor the algorithms to our new name of the church, because Jesus is now angry with Joseph Smith's name of the church. So yeah, it was all a business deal that was going on. The church owns stock in Google and Microsoft, so they control the search engines. So when he changed the name, that's what he was doing. He was rigging it. And YouTube got bought out by Google. And so the church owns Google, or YouTube, by extension. And so this is why I've been attacked all these years, is that the church is giving the orders and the algorithms are screwing me over to shut down my views and to cyber terrorize me, where the latest from the previous day was that my view and my thumbs up no longer count. I do not count when I'm signed in to YouTube. And it's a specific targeted attack. And they think that, well, net neutrality is gone, so it's legal. It is illegal to cyber terrorize people. And these are companies. These aren't hackers sneaking into other people's sites to tamper with me. This is the YouTube directly who's the cause of that. So today, the new thing was, hey, you want to watch our channel? Screw you. We're disconnecting you from the internet. So yeah, I wasn't able to watch Stephen Colbert's episode last night as a result. So yeah, it's not cool. And it demonstrates how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not true. I know this. It's an established fact. But Mormons, who do not bother to study, who do not bother to catch on to the major clues of the contradictions of Scripture, and therefore don't ask, as the prophets then punish you if you ask. You're not allowed to ask questions. I mean, question. And so there's lots of chaos. And Mormons are choosing to be evil like the church. Just like King Noah. He was wicked. And so because of his wickedness, the rest of his people had to become wicked too, in order to survive in his kingdom. That's how authoritarianism works. And you do not want authoritarianism, but nobody seems to want to learn from history, and they all want to repeat history. And then when it happens, the negative consequences of death, destruction, chaos, and pandemonium, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, then they're all complaining and crying and weeping. Oh, how did this happen? What was the cause of this? I don't understand. We get taught in primary as kids the song, do what is right, let the consequences follow. I mean, yeah, it's faith promoting, so it doesn't say if you do what's wrong, the consequences will follow too. But it's supposed to be understood. Nonetheless, notwithstanding. Of course, it also didn't help that yesterday in last night's video, I said I had a special video for today. And thus, when I went on to YouTube, it's an interesting coincidence. So, yeah, I'm a little late today by a couple hours as a result of the terrorism of YouTube ordered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, yeah, that video, though, this morning, yeah, it's very plain and simple. Anybody who's got intelligence can easily see that Nelson is a fraud. And therefore, the church isn't true. The Mormons don't want to listen so that they can be saved in ignorance. And they know exactly what scripture I'm talking about. Alrighty. So, it's Jasmine time. On studying Mormonism. Good morning, Travis. That is a change. It used to be hi, Mr. Goodsell. Then she changed it to hi, Travis, and then hello, Travis, and now good morning, Travis. Wow. If only I had a little voice-activated thing to talk with a female voice saying, good morning, Travis, which I cannot do a woman's voice. Here's a good one for you. Another critic. Who? Tell me who, Jasmine. Is it one of your friends who are Christians? Or is it somebody you saw online? You know, link me to them if it's online so that I can identify who they are and give you background information on them. Another critic says that Joseph Smith was marrying pregnant girls in order for their families to be taken care of in the celestial kingdom. Yeah, that is a good one. Dear God. Just on its surface, a person who uses logic to analyze that claim would know that that's stupid. See, first of all, it is worded such that Joseph Smith was not impregnating girls to then marry them to save their families. He's marrying girls already pregnant in order to save and take care of their families. But then another issue is that despite that meaning that Joseph Smith is kind of a good guy to be able to take care of these pregnant girls with no husband or baby daddy to take care of them. It's kind of chivalrous of him. But nonetheless, there's a doctrinal issue that exposes the stupidity of the critic. Currently, the practice is that families can be together forever in the celestial kingdom. And the concept of going to the temple as a convert to have your children sealed to you as part of this families can be together forever is relatively new and was not done during Joseph Smith's day. And unless you knew real church history, you would not catch this. This is how you can identify a liar, liar, pants on fire person. And so Joseph Smith was not about families being together forever. He was about couples, monogamous couples. And so not only is he not marrying other women or even girls to save the families, he's not practicing born in the covenant yet. Well, not at all. He never did. It was not until, I think, Wilford Woodruff who began that practice. I'd have to check. But, yeah, this is a situation where you are born in the covenant only because your parents have been sealed in the temple, but to actually have the child who needs to be sealed to parents who was not born in the covenant, no, that wasn't Joseph Smith's practice. And so those two things, born in the covenants and marrying women to save their families, was also not Joseph Smith's thing. And so you see here that the critic is getting misinformation about Joseph Smith when it was actually Brigham Young and his Danites. They were the secret combination for religion, government, and economy. And we're practicing polygamy in secret as a secret combination, purposely blaming Joseph in secret to get him in trouble to destroy his church and take it over and have their kingdom. That's what they did. And so it's stupid of Mormons to disregard this. And it's unfortunate that Mormons are dominating the information on the internet. As Wikipedia, anything for church has numerous errors because they don't properly reference. And so people who are trying to learn about the church get misinformed. And then they take it and branch off from it. And you can see that this is a branch off of misinformation that now is being exposed as absurd. But I don't worry about James and Jasmine going off into the dark side of the Force. She knows how to study, as she clearly says. He bases this on a gravestone. Oh, we've got details. Cool. Of a child Joseph Smith was married to. Really? A child or a teenager? Joseph Smith married himself to baby girls. Well, trying to watch the news this morning, I saw one in the recommended section of a middle school teacher who was impregnated by one of her students. Middle school, 7th and 8th grade. Hot for teacher, dear God. According to records, he married her in October, and the baby was born in February of the next year. September, October, November, December, January, February, 4 months. Wow, preemie. reading some more quotes and comments, I came across this and would like your take on it. If you'd provided the name of the girl, that would be helpful if she was one of the 23, which would make sense. So that Brigham Young, in order to take as many of Joseph Smith's followers as possible with him and keep them away from Emma and keep them away from Sidney Rigdon, and did Oliver Cowdery start his own religion or just David Whitmer? But others who had branched off, James Strang was another one. It was necessary to kind of cheat, not just threaten Mormons to come with him, kidnap them, hold them hostage. But women, as I often remind people, did not have rights back then. Women's suffrage movement had not happened yet. Women were property of their husbands. They were dependent upon their husbands. And yeah, there's exceptions, but that's not the general practice. And it's stupid for people to argue for the whole with the exception. There's a conservative who was thrown in prison for lies in a movie he made about Obama. And he's since gotten out, but it's a situation where his movie involved claiming that there was a rich black woman and so therefore slavery is no big deal, not to be taken as seriously because there was a black woman who was a billionaire. Again, the one exception does not nullify the general practice. But in this particular case, Joseph Smith was sealed by Brigham Young to 23 women who went with Brigham Young to this valley. That's why they were sealed to Joseph Smith. Either the Danites didn't want them, or they didn't want the Danites, but needed to be taken care of, and thus agreed to be sealed to Joseph Smith. This was not in 1843, like the church wants you to believe it did. I found the documents. There's a whole book of sealings, and in the book, it reveals the truth that it was in January of 1846 in the Nauvoo Temple that was not dedicated. And so you see that it was Willard Richards, who's exposed in this book as well, as being the one who was being sealed and having sex with 14 and 16-year-old sisters. 1846, not 1843. These Danites are evil. They lie, they forge documents. And so Joseph Smith was innocent of any of this. All the critics who do videos who say, oh, we found a journal by this woman who claimed Joseph Smith raped her, threatened to murder her if she didn't have sex with him. No, none of that was true. Those are from the women who came with Brigham. Women who didn't come with Brigham said nothing of the sort. Anonymous Mormon, who's a new girl who claims to be queer so that she could abandon her husband and then left the church afterward, is doing those kinds of videos. She hears other people say stuff, and so she makes a video of it, and she then believes whatever she's told to believe. And she's incapable of making the kinds of connections that I just made for you at the beginning, that Joseph Smith wasn't marrying pregnant girls, let alone marrying them so that her family can be celestialized, and the born in the covenant thing as well. Those are the kinds of things that are called anachronisms, when you impose current practice on a previous historical period that it had not even been invented or began yet. So Christians, for example, did that to the Jewish scriptures by turning them into literal history. Alrighty, that's my take on it. Okay. Oh, Lindsey Johnson was another one. Okay, that's for the next video segment. This is all for Jasmine. Alright, I was quite presumptuous, or it was quite presumptuous of Dawn to say those in the anti-polygamy camp. Okay, so you're getting closer to who this was. It's a he, and his name is now Dawn. Okay. Still not enough for me to know who he is, though. I believe Brigham authored those in the anti-polygamy camp believe Brigham authored Doctrine and Covenants 132. So he believes that Joseph Smith actually wrote it. The linguistic pattern shows Brigham Young authored it, even though he took some of it from the Nauvoo Expositor letter. But that's what the Danites did. They sabotaged the Kirtland Safety Society in 1837, got Joseph Smith in trouble with the law again, and then they used that space of time before that collapse that the Danites had taken out loans and didn't pay them back, thus sabotaging the bank. And after they were the cause of sabotaging the bank, that space of time between then and when they caused the Danite-Mormon war with election fraud and the coup of the church, they would go on later to forge the document, Section 119, to be placed in that time period, to blame Joseph for it. That's how evil these guys are. They cause the problem and then blame Joseph for the whole thing. And so, yes, they were practicing polygamy. And so, when Oliver Cowdery threw out his little accusation that Joseph was having sex with his handmaiden, it wasn't sealed to his handmaiden. Sex. It was inappropriate. And technically, that's all it was just inappropriate to have the 15-year-old girl cleaning his house while Joseph was there alone with her. That's what he was complaining about. He didn't see them have sex. He didn't acknowledge that they had sex. He didn't even say that she got pregnant. But the Danites took it and ran with it. And went, yes, now we have a justification for our polygamy. We're going around and spreading it. Oh yeah, Oliver Cowdery knew all about this. Joseph approves. Your husband won't be back for hours. And so, yeah, Section 132. But this, they didn't even bother to write it until the year before Brigham Young died. And he did so because of the pressure of the United States of America on Brigham to stop the practice of sex trafficking, among the other tithing crimes. And so he needed something in place to protect polygamy. And so he wrote up Section 132. And so the linguistic pattern proves it. Just like Sidney Rigdon, the linguistic pattern shows he's the major author of the Book of Mormon. And if anybody even bothered to check, I was the one who ended up having to do it making the discovery that it was Joseph Smith Sr. who rewrote the 116 pages. Science. And so, I'm still not aware of who this Don guy is, but again, if you do not do scientific research and study and analysis, you come up with conclusions that branch out into absurdities that are easily exposed with anachronisms. So she continues, it's pretty common knowledge that it was far more likely to be an Orson Pratt or William Clayton collaboration, and even many LDS members acknowledge that 131 was exactly that. Do they know that it was gutted of talking to Benjamin Franklin Johnson and his one wife? That Brigham Young purposely gutted when he finally put it in? The same year when Section 132, the year before he died. If you read The Seer by Orson Pratt, 132 aligns with his doctrinal beliefs, as well as his style of writing. But Brigham Young's too. You don't just... See, science uses techniques to identify the linguistic pattern. And so, without that, the view of the Hebrews has been accused of being plagiarized within the Book of Mormon. And I've read it, and no. But the people who ran the computer program to find out linguistic patterns, utilizing a couple of different dozen books, had confirmed it also, that there is no linguistic pattern of the view of the Hebrews. It has a mindset similar to the Book of Mormon pattern, but it was Solomon Spaulding's book that was plagiarized in template form, at least, for the Book of Mormon. And the big difference, and you can even use the late war that is online. A person did the comparisons between the late war and the Book of Mormon and did a highlighting of the differences, but didn't provide a key. But nonetheless, it was a well-done project that everybody can see for themselves that the late war is in the Book of Mormon. Unfortunately, Mormons don't want to acknowledge it and try to create apologies that are not founded on science or logic. And as long as it makes them feel good, it's got to be true. So, it doesn't matter if Orson Pratt was speaking of the same things. Let's bring it up here, because Orson Pratt would have published that here in the Valley, I believe. Orson Pratt, The Seer PDF. Internet Archive. Edited by Orson Pratt. That's interesting, too. 304 pages. And I should have it, but my files are a mess and need to be organized. And so we'll just do a quick download here to make sure I got it. You are downloading it, right? I do the click and then nothing happens, and then I'm just like, I clicked. Why aren't you doing anything? Okay. I'm going to put it in the right file. Whoops, that's not the right file. Yeah, 1853, January. That's volume 1, number 1. The Prospectus of the Seer. So Brigham Young already had been speaking of this. He's quoting from Brigham Young. That's where he's getting all this from. That's why it seems similar. Because Brigham Young in 1851 publicly announced to the other Mormons who were now coming to the valley through the Perpetual Immigration Fund, a tithing crime of human trafficking, that Joseph Smith had ordered polygamy to be practiced, and now all Mormons must practice it openly now, despite the United States of America. And yeah, there were complaints because the Danites had all the women already. And we're going out on missions to convert more marriage wives, more sister wives. And so yeah, these new to the valley Mormons were complaining big time, being told that it's now the law and they can't practice it because there are no women. And so Brigham Young consented and had brothels made. And then he frequented the one on Regent Street. Orrin Porter Rockwell was rewarded with the one at the point of the mountain for his loyalty to Joseph. Or to Brigham, not Joseph. My mind is rushing way far ahead, and my mouth doesn't keep up. I think I said Jasmine yesterday instead of Garna. In one of my videos. 132. Yeah, his doctrinal beliefs have to conform and comply to Brigham Young's doctrinal beliefs that he gave in 1851. That's why. There's no way Joseph Smith could have authored 132, yeah. I mean, threatening Emma, dear God. The whole thing is just not Joseph Smith's pattern. You read his works and what's published in the Doctrine and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. Section 132 is just, what's going on with him? You literally are concerned, as Oliver Cowdery was when he heard from David Whitmer that the Danites told David Whitmer that Joseph Smith was now the Danite leader, was murdering Mormons, practicing polygamy, and changed the name of the church to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oliver Cowdery was in shock. He was horrified. He couldn't believe that Joseph Smith had changed that much since he left the church. Disappointed over how to change the economy of the Mormons with the bank failing. That's why he left. But, yeah, the Danites preyed on that. They salivated and going, gotcha. So, but that's what they does. Alright, he knew the Bible far too well to not know Isaac wasn't a polygamist. Jasmine. The Bible is not literal history. Thought you would have known that. That's not the point of the story, to give an accurate genealogy and history of the ancients. That's why Cain and Abel don't have wives. That's a huge mistake. Wow. But no, the Book of Mormon is the difference, because the Book of Mormon condemns polygamy 6 times, and one of them has to do with David and Solomon being married to women who God did not allow. And it is worded such that David and Solomon are allowed polygamous wives. But it was the Hittite women that God didn't approve. Oops, am I giving you higher level learning without the background of that? Of the David Moses dynasty of the 18th dynasty pharaohs? Oops. So, yeah, there's more to talk about that, but we won't. But yeah, the Section 132 uses David and Solomon as the justification for it. Whereas the Book of Mormon says, no, they were married to women I did not approve of. So just leave it at that for the basic level knowledge. As I open Pandora's box on that one, and then now need to explain it. On the other hand, Orson Pratt was known to read into things to the extreme, yeah, like Dawn did, and what you were creeping into, dear, and jump to absurd conclusions, which is exactly why he had the absurd idea that Jesus himself was a polygamist. Oh no, he had 7 women following him, and Mary and Martha. Again, not literal history. It's 2 failed marriages prophecy of the Jewish Christ of the latter days. As I opened up another Pandora's box. Seriously, though, I could open up a third one about Lilith. Seriously, though, how does one read the Gospels and conclude that Jesus was a polygamist? I just told you. No wonder why only the extremists like the FLDS take Orson Pratt's writings seriously anymore. The FLDS and other branch-offs from Brigham Young, which actually in the turn of the 1900s is when they began to branch off and leave. There were a number who were upset with Wilford Woodruff. He caved to the United States of America and didn't go to war with them to preserve Brigham Young's doctrinal changes. And there were some who were Danites, who, like Allreds, for example, I've seen their names in the Danite records. And so they were then able to use Brigham Young's insertion in the same year that 132 and 131 were put in, even though 131 was gutted, to put in section 85 of the Doctrine and Covenants, the one mighty and strong. Joseph Smith had already had that published in the Times and Seasons, so we know it's a legitimate document by Joseph Smith for that one. And so yes, Brigham Young, like Lucifer, puts out some truth to mask the lies. He'll tell one truth for 99 lies. Something like that. That I was told as a kid in Aaronic priesthood class and seminary. And so claiming that they were verse 8, Wilford Woodruff, and then eventually Lorenzo Snow, and then Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., as he then goes on to do a First Presidency book on the One Mighty and Strong. which I never did get to. It should still be in this pile. I never did cover it in greater detail. I've referred to it many times since I thought about doing a video on that, but never did get to it. And so, yes, this is when Mormons began getting inspired to form their own church, to be the one mighty and strong. And I don't know of any of them who claim it, but there are those from the branch-offs who claim to be the one mighty and strong. One of them is very popular on YouTube, and I was even criticized saying he's more popular than you are, Travis. Oh yes, an ad populum fallacy argument. Yep, he must be true then, because he's more popular. He believes that his authority came from talking with Jesus Christ at the top of the pillars of the Salt Lake Temple. I shut him up by asking him the simple question, not in the Holy of Holies? He also criticized me because in order to be the true Christ, I have to have a beard. Anybody watch my videos in the shelter? But anyway, my video this morning sets the record straight for all. Although there is the one who always puts a thumbs down regardless of what I talk about. And so, yeah, the different factions, branch offs from Brigham Young. List of denominations in the Latter-day Saint movement. And this is a bit inaccurate with the picture. I'm not donating to you. Alrighty. Guess I'm gonna have to download this again for this video and then be able to blow it up so I can read it. Memories on the corner of my eyes. I see you. Lots and lots of memories in my videos. Having breathing problems. Most likely the dry skin is getting to me. So this particular one assumes that Brigham Young is the rightful successor as the middle line, rather than having him branching out and then having these others that branched out from Brigham Young. And so you have to go to 1844 to see the branch-offs that occurred there. So you have the Church of Christ, the White, the White, we got an at in the middle, an X, the Y-ite, don't know what that is, typing error. And so then you also have the Church of Christ of Aaron Smith, not a Smith brother, different Smith, and then the Strangeites from James Strang, and then he got sabotaged by John C. Bennett, and then you have the Church of the Messiah that comes off from them too. And so that's with Joseph Smith's death. As you also have the Church of Jesus Christ, the Rickertonite, and their break-offs. Sidney Rigdon should be one of these. Community of Christ, the RLDS, that's Joseph Smith III, and the Church of Christ Wyite with the X is shown to be merged into them around 1860. And so you go past that, as there's also the Church of Jesus Christ of the Children of Zion. That's the Rigdonites. Rigdon is in parentheses there. And so 1847, you have the Church of Christ, the Whitmerites, David Whitmer. And so that's still from Joseph Smith. The Temple Lot Church of Christ, 1851. That's also a branch off from Joseph Smith, not Brigham Young. Church of the Potter Christ, unfamiliar with them. They're 1857. And they're reorganized 1860. Let's see if we can find the Church of the Potter Christ. Whoops. Arnold Potter was a self-declared Messiah and leader of the schismatic sect in the Latter-day Saint movement. Herkimer County, New York. He married Almira Smith when he was 19. In 1835, he moved with his wife and children to Switzerland County, Indiana. November 10th, 1839, were baptized by missionaries of the Church of the Danites. It's the wrong name of the church, so it has to be the Danites. Doesn't say who the missionaries were so that we can confirm Danites, but with the wrong name of the church, you can see how the church is tampered with this, putting the incorrect information here. 1840, moved to Nauvoo, Illinois, joined the main body of the Mormons. April 24th, was given the Melchizedek priesthood and ordained to the office of an elder by Joseph Smith. And so, yes, it was the Church of the Latter-day Saints, not the Church of Jesus Christ. That is an error. He therefore knew the correct name of the church. And already Mormons are tampering with the historical records to lie and cover up the truth. June 1st, 1840, received the patriarchal blessing from Church Patriarch Joseph Smith Sr. Oh, yeah, because he was about to die in 1840 or 42. Do they show him the... No. I won't look it up. It's not that necessary, but yeah, Senior. He settled in Sand Prairie, Iowa, while he was a presiding elder of the church. 1845, he became a 70 in the church. So he did join with Brigham Young. That's what that means. Joseph died June 27th, 1844. It's showing that Potter became a 70 in Brigham Young's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints now in January 1845. And yep, 1848, he finally came to the Salt Lake Valley as a Mormon pioneer. By 1856, he had moved from Utah Territory to San Bernardino, California, among those who wanted to settle in California. March 16th, 1856, he received a mission call to Australia from Brigham Young, who they assume is still they got Nelson as the picture. I'm part of the scandal here. I exposed when somebody put the correct information about Brigham Young being the first president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That was an awesome scandal. And Mormons went and put it back to second president. And so he is a branch off from Brigham Young then. This Church of the Potter Christ is a branch off from Brigham Young. So let's see where we can find out what happened. Potter returned to California. Wait a minute, let's go back again. Potter later claimed that during his trip to Australia, he underwent a purifying, quickening change, whereby his own spirit body, called Christ, did not understand the washing and anointings very well, did he? Entered into his body, and he became Potter Christ, Son of the living God. Yep, Brigham Young causes cuckoo for Cocoa Puff syndrome. That could be the title. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs syndrome. I do need to go back all through my 10 trillion terabytes, or 10 terabytes of videos and pull out the greatest hits. He wrote a book dedicated to him by the Angels, Los Angeles Angels. It was described by Potter as the book from which all people were to be judged at the final judgment. So let's find this book. Arnold Potter, Angels. Well, it doesn't say the name of the book. You don't need to highlight Angels so we can go to the link of Angels. Dear God. Let's find Book of Arnold Palmer. Potter. PDF. Arnold Potter. This little pamphlet is designed to go before and be the forerunner to the greatest events that ever were to be revealed are in our archives. Revelations of Potter Christ. Should we do the American Civil War forums first? In case you've been blocked. Why have I been blocked? Okay, yeah, the archives one is a good one. It is not a commentary, it is the actual document. I'm telling you that the church really screwed up my internet access. I can't access stores online. Walmart, my grocery store, Barnes & Noble. I can't order online through those stores. So yeah, it's typed, but it is titled The Revelations of Potter Christ. Alrighty. So now I have Mr. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The final close of the Sixth Gospel Dispensation and the opening of the New Covenant Dispensation of the Holy Law to gather Israel from the four quarters of the earth to Holy Zion, the millennial kingdom of heaven. Yep. So he believed Brigham Young was a fallen prophet, going to Australia, drinking at the bar tabs there. Getting in fights with alligators, getting beat up by kangaroos. And so he returned to California in October 1857 and saw a Brighamite judges him by his outward appearance. Arnold Potter, who calls himself Potter Christ, appeared in our streets today with a brand on his forehead with India ink. Yay! The mark of the beast in his forehead. The words which can be read at quite a distance are Potter Christ, the living God, morning star. Really? You can see that from a distance? That's some good eyesight. To the right of the inscription is a star, below a cross. You're able to see that? He appears very desirous of winning followers. Well, of course, all religious leaders are. It is sad. Even I am desirous to convert Mormons to the truth, to get them away from the church that's trying to murder them and steal their money. It is said there are several apostates about to join him. Not biased whatsoever. But he puts the for Revelations chapter 13. He's purposely trying to incite other Mormons against Travis in his videos by lying. Oh, whoops. I mean, Potter Christ. By 1861, Potter and some of his followers had left California with the intention of settling near Independence, Missouri. Because Brigham Young and his Danites said that that is the location for the Latter-day Zion. Right, Nelson? Nelson, where are you? Huh? What? Salt Lake City? You're building the palace for Jesus at Temple Square? Huh. Huh. Cocoa Puff cereal in India is all spelled with K's. 3 K's in India. Oh my God. Did they never learn about American history? Oh dear God. And so yes, this is the wrong location. Brigham Young purposely did not publish 19 July 1840. Not just because Joseph Smith called him out as Judas and that he would murder him. But because Joseph Smith says, many of you think that Missouri is the Latter-day Temple. No. It's in southern Illinois, the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem. Thus not in Jerusalem either. And so, yes, you can see the damage that Brigham Young had caused. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Getting Mormons, even me, that video, my most popular video on this channel, that has almost 40,000 views, still stalled, was me still thinking it's Independence, Missouri that we're going to. And I didn't know how, because the church isn't talking about it. And they're setting it up for Salt Lake City. But once I found 19 July 1840 in the Joseph Smith papers, which I don't know why they published those. It just blows my mind. It exposes this church as a fraud. It exposes the forged documents. It exposes the Danites. And yet, I would have never have known if they just didn't bother with it. But nope. They have to do things for which the consequences makes me realize, oh, yeah, they're the great and abominable church. What do you know? That's why they paid an assassin to murder me. With this receipt I now have in my possession. There's multiple receipts now, but nonetheless, all they had to do was leave me alone. But Mormons can't leave. Mormons who leave the church alone. The prophets won't leave me alone. They think that by destroying me, that it's going to stop me. And they never learn the traditional location of Zion for Latter-day Saints. And so, yes, I'm concerned that when the day that shall burn as an oven happens, that Mormons here in Utah will go, I guess it's not Utah, I guess we go to Missouri now. Who's leading the church? They all fled. And you're going to get Potter Christ and all of the Mormon Danite names who think they're now going to be the Christ or the prophet of the living Jesus, and getting inspiration and saying, God appeared to me and told me to lead the church. Follow me, guys. Not having a single gift whatsoever, and Mormons who are not smart enough to know this, as I'm trying to warn them and they keep complaining, that's the next video, are gonna be deceived. They're gonna follow somebody else just because it feels good. And then they're gonna get into some serious trouble, and then they're gonna have skirmish among them, and just like in Missouri. Mormons who get to Missouri are going to have their own spiritual witness feelings on how it's supposed to be run and operated. And you're going to have 100 or 1,000, depending on how many survive, all different. And so, having watched La Brea Season 2, yeah, that's mild compared to what will happen in Missouri, because there are others who are still in Missouri who are not Brighamite. So that's going to cause a problem too. And whereas me, I will be taking my hand cart, I need something, and moving on. You deal with this, I'm moving on. And other Mormons are going to say, where is he going? Didn't he have a YouTube channel? He was talking all this crazy stuff about Southern Illinois and showing pictures of solar eclipses, X marks the spot for Zion, and all this crazy stuff. Warning us that this was going to happen, and it happened, but he can't be true. Dear God. I found out I am the first in this building, which I think was the first building, to recertify for next year. I was told that the other day when I signed the documents. And I'm like, really? Because there were people here before me. And is it just because they haven't done it yet? They're hesitating? They're going, oh, I haven't told such and such? Okay, I'll wait. I don't know. I'm just the kind of guy that wants to get as much done as he can before all this happens. Plus others that I couldn't pick up. I have learned by sad experience that if I do not do a video of it immediately, it does not get done. And so they then settled at St. Mary's in northwest Mills County, Iowa, because the land belonged to other people, other Mormons. When St. Mary's was destroyed by flooding, oops, we thank thee, O God, for a prophet to guide us in these flooding waters. 1865, they moved to Council Bluffs, Iowa. Yeah, that's a church site. So they went back to what they knew. And so, yes, he proclaimed you guys who are listening to my video right now as the chosen ones, the few but devout. And they wore black robes, and women were plain. I still want the pictures. Women are hot, even when natural, especially when natural. Because when a woman puts a mask on and deforms her body, it's no longer her. Potter and his followers held enthusiastic prayer meetings, culminate in the declaration of new revelation from God, which I now have in my possession. Announced a meeting of his church that the time had come for his ascent into heaven. You mean you're gonna die? All right, let's get to some other people here. So he is from Brigham. All right, Church of the Potter Christ. Temple Lot, no. Church of Zion, the God Beats. I guess we gotta check them too. God Beats, Wikipedia. Organized 1870 by William S. Godby. This descent offshoot of the Church of Jesus Christ, are you sure? Was aimed towards embracing all belief systems. Yes, Islam, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, all the same. Embracing spiritualism and mysticism. Is that Kabbalah you mean? Or is it... Because the New Age was the 60s and 70s in America. 1960s and 70s. Which that could be the theme song. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I do see Brigham Young here. He wanted to reform the LDS Church and believed that political reform, breaking Young's control over secular matters in the territory, could help spur religious reform. Yep, he wasn't happy with Brigham's kingdom and he left, formed his own church. Well, there we go. Probably should have done this for the Potter one too. I don't think I did that. fulfilling prophecy by getting a history of the people. That's all I'm doing, Mormons. No need to panic. Nothing to see here. Move along. Alrighty. And 1920 is when they have the Council of Friends, and then branches off to the Kingstons and the Apostolic United Brethren and the FLDS Church that you referred to, Jasmine. Because there are others listening, not just Jasmine. So, interesting. Yeah. And so this 1921, and the FLDS Church claims prior to 1920 as their founding, from what I had learned. So this is an error for them, but it's all in that time period. And it wasn't until 1923 when Heber J. Grant should also be a branch off here, technically starting out of nothing, because Brigham Young's church was destroyed in 1887. And so only the Church of Zion, the God Be It's, and the Arnold Palmer one. See, right there, 1887, they should have put a cap on the extension branch off of Brigham. That the church was shut down. It ceased to exist under John Taylor. John Taylor was locked up in prison for his tithing crimes of human trafficking and sex trafficking that Brigham Young had established, and granting citizenship to those who paid off their debts. All for the purpose of building the kingdom and kicking out the United States of America from the land. And so, yes, that's exactly what the church is planning on doing right now. That's why they overthrew the government. That's why women are panicked and in fear, and Democrats are giving them false hope that an election next year, it can be on the ballot. There are women whose lives are in danger right now. The church overthrew the government. The Council for National Policy. A secret combination. And so, yeah, all this is an error in here as well. And yeah, I could do it. It would be another project. If somebody else wants to do it, who listens, who knows how to do this, send me the email of your finished project. And then if you know how to do it on YouTube or Wikipedia, go ahead and fix it on Wikipedia. And I can get it off of that from you. But yeah, 1923, that's when Heber J. Grant organized the brand new, restored Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which was evangelical, non-Trinitarian. And if this Council of Friends knew that, they could have stolen the name of the church. Council of Friends could technically, legally be called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so Heber J. Grant would be like, crap! What name do I call it now? and Nelson would be in a conundrum of, oh no, not the right name of the church anyway. But Jesus is still angry. We would have had a whole different history if the Council of Friends would have just known that the church was shut down and they could have taken the name for their church. And so Heber C. Kimball rushed and got it for his church. That's why it's still called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so under Heber J. Grant, even though the FLDS Church talks about prior men who are disgruntled with the previous prophets before Heber J. Grant. Again, they're not happy reincorporating the church with polygamy. They're not happy with not going to war against the United States and declaring a kingdom. And that's why these Kingstons and Council of Friends, Apostolic United Brethren, and Fundamentalist Church, and the Church of the Firstborn of the Fullness of Times, the Church of the New Covenant in Christ, Church of Jesus Christ in Solemn Assembly, Church of the Firstborn of the Lamb of God, Sons Amen Israel, righteous branch of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Centennial Park, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the Kingdom of God, the Church of Jesus Christ Original Doctrine Incorporated. All of these are militant in nature, just like the Brighamite Church is, but in secret. Their security guards are packing, and they will blow you away if you're LGBTQIAPO+ and dare kiss on Temple Square. They will blow you. You mean blow them away? That's a movie. Oh, what is that? Is it Ziva David from NCIS? Could be. She did that. But I think there was also a movie. It's not coming to mind. Anyway, so that's the branch-offs. And then you've got others. The Third Convention and the House of Aaron that branched off into Zion's Order, Inc., the Perfected Church of Jesus Christ of Immaculate LDS. Mormons are now all immaculate, raped by Heavenly Father. Our mothers are raped by Heavenly Father. There they are. United Order Family of Christ, independent LDS congregations in Nigeria. Interesting. Church doesn't talk about that one. Independent LDS congregations in Ghana. Africa rebelled. School of the Prophets, Church of Jesus Christ, Bolate, True and Living Church of Jesus Christ of Saints of the Latter Days, Pentecostal Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Church of the Firstborn and the General Assembly of Heaven. But yeah, for the African ones, they tie back into the church. At the same time, 1978. What happened in 1978? Africans were breaking off from the church because of the church's racism. Hilarious. It's awesome. Church of the Firstborn and the General Assembly of Heaven, Fellowships of the Remnant, the Snuffer. That's Denver Snuffer. You put him in? Dear God. So why didn't you put Brian David Mitchell? Why didn't you put Chad Daybell? They did the same thing. If you're going to put Denver Snuffer in there. I seriously don't understand why anybody would follow Denver Snuffer, but they do. I don't understand why Mormons follow Brigham and Nelson, but they do. Just doesn't make any sense. Alrighty. No wonder why only the extremists like the FLDS take Orson Pratt's. Well, they're not extremists. They're actually the Orthodox. This church is liberal compared to Brigham Young. But Nelson is hinge pointing to return to the extremist orthodoxy, even though everybody calls this the orthodoxy. So yes, it's a matter of understanding correct history to understand that these others are merely the orthodoxy of Brigham Young. Whereas this, by not practicing polygamy, not being outwardly militant, only secret combination militant, are considered liberal. That's why they branched off. Because this church was not orthodox, as they believed. They caved to the United States of America. Yet the LDS Church still hangs on to Doctrine and Covenants 132 as a revelation from God. And Russell Marion Nelson even quoted from it in General Conference. Yep, and brought it back in the Law of Chastity Change. Yep. So, yeah, wow, that was a long one. Good old Jasmine. Studying Mormonism. Not a single Mormon does what you do, Jasmine. And that's the sad reality of Mormons.